First question, being vegan, what is on your Christmas dinner menu? Okay, so many people think that when you're a vegan, you have to miss out on a delicious Christmas dinner, and it's just simply not the case. What you need to do if you are vegan is think of something that you don't usually have, that's festive, that will be a real treat. For me, that is pie. I don't usually eat pies during the year, so for me, that is my special thing to have at Christmas that will be fulfilling and feel like a treat. So last year I made a beet Wellington, which is just beetroot and it's encased in pastry. And this year I'm going to be making a mushroom and leek pie. And I will take real special care to make sure it's very delicious and it will be a real beautiful treat for me to have at Christmas. Okay, next question. What is the best gift you've ever received at Christmas? Okay, I really had to think hard about this question because I don't know about you, but I always think that Christmas gifts are such a pain. We spend so much time running around trying to find the perfect gift for our special friends and loved ones, and it's really, really difficult to get it right. And for me, Christmas should be about spending time with loved ones, having wonderful food, enjoying each other's company, and we get so absorbed in trying to find the perfect gift that we add this huge amount of pressure on ourselves, and it really is disheartening. And oftentimes people don't like the gifts that you give them. It's very hard to find a gift that someone will love. You have to know them very well. So gifts are really, to me, not the true meaning of Christmas, as I'm sure that's the same for many of you, and I find them a real nuisance. So the best gift that I've ever had, Scrooge, I'm such a Scrooge, was probably when I was 5 years old and my parents got me this amazing electric Jeep. And as I mentioned in my last Q&A, my parents were not wealthy, we didn't have a lot, but they worked very, very hard to make sure that we had a very special Christmas. So I'll always be thankful for that. But this Christmas gift was just one that I'll never forget. It was a convertible Jeep, and honestly I felt like the king of the world driving around my local area in this Jeep. And there's a picture of me with my sister next to me, and we're just having the time of our lives. So that really was probably the gift that's most memorable for me and something I'll never forget. Next question. What Christmas traditions did your family enjoy when you were a child? Okay, so we never actually spent Christmas at home. From about the age of 3 years old until I was 21, I never had Christmas at home. We always used to go away on holiday in the UK, normally to the seaside. One of the traditions that we used to have on Christmas Day was we'd have our Christmas dinner and then we would go for a walk on the beach. And it was obviously cold, sometimes raining, but we'd have the best time just running on the beach, chasing the waves, pushing each other into the water, and that was our Christmas thing. And I remember my dad always used to say, how many people will be walking on the beach at Christmas Day? And it's like a little family joke, but that was our thing, and I'll always remember that special time. Hi Nicholas, what gift would you like for Christmas? Okay, now I know I just gave you that lecture about, oh, we shouldn't be focusing on gifts and it should be about spending time with friends and family, but I do like beautiful things. So the Christmas gift that I would really, really like, it's something that I've wanted for many, many years, and I probably will have it one day if I work very hard. And there is an artist, a Russian artist who lives in the US called Vladimir Kanevsky, and he makes porcelain flowers. And you probably think that doesn't sound very amazing, but they are crafted in these beautiful terracotta pots, and they're actual stems of roses, peonies, tulips, and they're very, very expensive. He makes them by hand. Each petal is made from porcelain, and the stem is made from toll, and they are works of art, and I honestly think they will be the antiques of the future. But they're very, 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 very expensive, and rightly so, you know, they're made by hand, and I would really love to have one of those for Christmas one day. Good morning from California. I would like to know if you have any New Year's resolutions. Okay, Well, I'll be honest again, and I'll tell you that I really do not like New Year's resolutions. I find that they put a lot of pressure on us, and they're so hard to stick to. You've just had 2 weeks of overindulging, spending time doing hardly anything, vegging around, and there comes the new year when we're supposed to start from scratch, get ourselves into this amazing fitness regime, learn a new language, do all the things that we'd never done before. And I think that it's a huge amount of pressure, and we're setting ourselves up for failure. So I, in the past, have made New Year's resolutions every day at the beginning of the year, and it's never worked. I can honestly say I have never ever stuck to any New Year's resolution, so I'm not going to bother with them ever again. I notice you have a tattoo on your wrist. It seems rather out of character. I wonder if you'll be willing to tell us about it. Okay, I did think whether or not to answer this question because this tattoo is quite personal, but I get asked this question every single video that I post. People see my tattoo here and they want to know what it is. So I might as well just get it out of the way and answer that question. So when I was 19 years old, I had a boyfriend, and this is his name in another language. I do not have many regrets in my life, because what's the point? We do things, and at the time we think it's the right decision, and if it turns out that it's not the right decision, there's nothing we can do. We have to just forget about it. But this is on my wrist, and I have to see it every single day, every time I wash my hands. And when you see this and it's reminding you of someone who you don't particularly like, it's really annoying. So I do regret that, and I have planned to get that removed every single year, and I just do not get round to it. So speaking of resolutions, maybe that is one I'm going to have. I'm going to get rid of this tattoo. What is the best and worst thing that happened to you in 2020? Okay, now I know that 2020 was a really bad year for many of us because of COVID-19. Now I hope you don't feel like I'm being insensitive when I say this, but for me, 2020 was one of the best years I've had, because it was the year when I really started to focus on my life and what I needed to do to improve it. For many years, I've known exactly what I needed to do, but I just haven't been able to step out of the comfort zone and do it. This year was the year that I finally did that. So for me personally, that was the best thing that happened in 2020. Another good thing that happened to me was that during the lockdown, I managed to meet a lot of my neighbours and make a lot of new friends, which I don't think would have happened unless we had the lockdown. I think one of the positives that really came out of COVID-19 was the way that we all just took a step back from our lives and saw what really is important. Now, living in Edinburgh, this is obviously a city, and I think what people tend to do here is come home from work or whatever they're doing, close the door, and they just want to relax. So making friends and meeting your neighbours has not been a priority. This year, because of COVID-19, because we've had the lockdowns and we've all had to spend a lot more time at home, we've actually seen that meeting your friends and neighbours is so important and just improves life amazingly. Now, for the worst thing that happened in 2020, at the beginning of the year, I broke up with my boyfriend of 9 years, and even though we both knew that it was coming, it was still an extremely difficult time. When you have been with someone for so long and they're basically your family, you've lived with them every day for 9 years, to even imagine separating from them and having to start life from scratch, it was really scary, daunting, and probably the saddest time of my whole life. So that was probably the worst thing that happened to me in 2020. But my ex-boyfriend and I are still best friends. In fact, we're more like family. And we have promised that whatever happens in our life, we will make sure that we keep that friendship and that love going between us that has been so special and that kept us together for 9 years. What motivates you to make videos? Okay, so the biggest motivation for me making these videos is when I read the comments and I can see that they've actually affected someone's life. So if I get comments from people telling me that they really enjoy my video, it improved their life in this way or that way, that's for me the most wonderful thing about making these videos, is that I'm actually making a difference to other people. You know, I am not claiming to be an expert at anything that I do. I just try to give my best in everything. If I haven't done something that I want to do, I'll do it as best as I can, and hopefully it turns out good. If it doesn't, that's okay, it's a lesson. But really, when I make these videos and I read the hundreds and hundreds of comments from everyone telling me that they really enjoyed them, or, you know, it calms them after a really stressful day, that for me is the most rewarding thing ever. And I thank you all for leaving me these comments to tell me about that. So, these videos are for you. Hi Nicholas, in your last Q&A you mentioned that you received your first commission via Instagram from someone in the Middle East. What content exactly did you share on Instagram to grab someone's attention? How did you know what to charge? And what was the overall breakdown in this first commission? Well, that is a really long and amazing question. Okay, so yes, I did gain my first interior design client from someone who saw me posting on Instagram, and that was quite a few years ago. At the time I was living in quite a special house. It was a large flat on the east coast of Scotland in a historic building, and I basically shared the renovation of this building on Instagram. I never did that with the intention of earning work or anything else actually. It was just to share the process so that in years to come I would remember it and look back fondly on it. But yes, I did start to gain followers from posting that, and I gained my first commission for interior design. Now, with regards to what did you charge and how did you know what to charge, I didn't have a clue. And I think that when you're starting out with any business, or if you get an opportunity like that where you've never done something before and someone asks you to do it, there are two options. You can either say yes and take on the challenge even though you haven't got a clue what you're doing, or you can say no. My advice would be to always say yes, and you will figure out exactly what you need to do as soon as you say yes and you start doing the work. That it does not mean that you're lying about your skills or that you're frauding someone. I have listened to so many successful people talk about how they started, and every single one of them will tell you that they literally had no idea what they were doing. And that is probably the case for every single person who has been successful. You simply cannot know what to do until you start doing it. Yes, you can do a bit of groundwork, a bit of research, try and think about what you have to do methodically, but actually until you've done something, you're never going to know every little thing that will come along that might throw you off track or improve what you're doing. You have to do that only for yourself. So if you are looking to do that kind of thing, if someone's asked you, will you decorate my house for me, do the interiors, and you feel like you can't, just do it. They're asking you for a reason. They've seen something in you that they like and that they're inspired by. So accept it. Life does not give us these opportunities very often. So when it does, you have to grab them with both hands and just run and never look back. Fake it till you make it. Hi Nicholas, you've spoken very fondly about your family previously. How often would you see them / speak to them pre-COVID, and are they supportive of your channel? Okay, so yes, I do love my family. They're amazing people. I don't get to see them very often. The last 9 years of my life has been extremely busy. I've travelled all around the world. I've lived all over the UK, so seeing my family always kind of took a back step, and they were always really supportive of that because they wanted me to enjoy my life and just do everything that I could, take every experience that came along and just make the most of it. So I am very thankful to my family, especially my mom, who I know misses me terribly. She always cries when we have to part, And so I want to take this chance to say thank you to my mum, who always supports me and encourages me to do everything that I want to do and never makes me feel guilty about not really being around very often. So thank you, Mum, I love you. Mwah. Do my family know about my YouTube channel? Actually, they've only just started to know about my YouTube channel. My mom has started to watch my videos and she really loves them, and she absolutely loves reading the comments from everyone. So thank you to everybody who leaves me a wonderful comment. My mom really appreciates them and she loves you as much as I do. Hi Nicholas, what is an easy and affordable gift that people would love? Okay, so I think a really easy and affordable gift that you could get someone that is going to be special and that they will really appreciate is simple. It's a photograph in a really beautiful frame. Now that doesn't have to be anything expensive. You can get them from any store. Just find a really nice photograph. Maybe it's of you and this other person together, or maybe it's their beloved animal or their child, relative. Just a beautiful photograph in a frame. That is a simple, affordable gift that they will really love. You know, we all have smartphones and digital cameras, and we upload these photographs onto social media and onto our laptops, computers, but how often do we actually print them off? Not very often anymore. So these pictures are becoming a rarity. A simple photograph in a frame that someone can put by their bedside or on the fireplace and look at every day is a really beautiful, simple gift that I promise they will love. Do you plan on staying in Edinburgh, or do you see yourself living somewhere else in the world? So I only moved to Edinburgh a year ago, almost a year ago to the day, and I didn't really want to move here. My ex-boyfriend wanted to move to Edinburgh. He loves Scotland. For me, I was worried about the weather. I was worried about not knowing anyone. I was worried about being so far from family, and I said to him, let's give it 6 months, and if it doesn't work out, we have to move back. And I can honestly say moving to Edinburgh was the best thing that ever happened. So I'm very thankful to him for dragging me here, because it's turned out to be the best decision I could have made for this point in my life. That being said, I have always been someone who likes to move around, who can't really stay in one particular place for too long. So I think that I will be here for a few years, but eventually I will move on to somewhere else. Now, one of the places that I really would love to live, even though I've never visited, is the USA. Something about American people that calms me and makes me feel accepted. The Americans are very laid back, down to earth, fun people who wear their heart on their sleeve. You're not constantly guessing whether someone likes you or not. They let you know whether they do or whether they don't. And that for me is very reassuring. So I think that somehow, someday, I will definitely be living in the US, even if it's just for a year or two, but I think that I will live there at some point. I just feel it in me that that will happen. Even if I don't manage to move abroad, in terms of living in the UK, I would like someday to have a house in the countryside. I'm living in the city at the minute, and although I really love it and it suits me every day, I would love to have somewhere to escape to at the weekend with a garden that I can go there, relax, grow vegetables, cook, relax by the fire, invite friends over, truly have a wonderful time. So that is one of the biggest aims of my life, is to have a country house, nothing big, just a little cottage that's cozy and warm and that I can call my own. So yeah, I'm either going to be moving across the world, the other side of the globe, or probably just maybe an hour away in the Scottish borders. Okay, this is the last question. How does your Christmas day begin? What do you eat and drink? Who do you share your day with? Okay, this Christmas is going to be different. It's not going to be my usual Christmas. Christmas has gone by when I used to live in a much bigger house. I used to have the whole family come to me. So my parents, my brother, my sister, their partners. I had a friend who used to come from Dubai and stay with me, and then my ex-partner's parents and his family used to come. We had quite a big place with lots of bedrooms, and it was honestly the best thing ever, just to fill the house with people and really enjoy the festive period. And basically our whole Christmas would revolve around eating, drinking, food, walking, doing the most simple but fun things. So on Christmas Day I used to plan a big breakfast / brunch, because we probably had a lot of drinks the night before, and we had quite a big dining room, and I would make all beautiful breakfast foods, croissants, pastries, cooked breakfast, eggs, sausage, bacon, fruits, just everything. And I would put it all onto a big table, and everybody would come down at an arranged time, and we'd all start the Christmas Day by having a big breakfast all together. After that, we'd go for a walk. We used to live practically on the beach, so we had beautiful scenery and walks to go on. So after you've had a big breakfast, a lovely thing to do is just to walk it off, take in some air, and have a lovely walk. So that's what we would do after that. Then we would come back to the house, relax a little bit, maybe open some of our gifts. Then we would get changed into our best Christmas outfits and come down and have a big Christmas lunch. After dinner, we're exhausted on food and drink, so it's the perfect chance to have a little bit of a rest before the evening. And then in the evening we would usually have quite a nice party with games. We used to have a beautiful karaoke sound system in our big hall that made everyone sound like they were an amazing singer, even me. So yeah, we would sing, have more drinks, nibble on food, leftovers, play games, tell jokes, share stories, just basically doing what most families do on Christmas Day. And I also really enjoy watching the Queen's speech on Christmas Day. I find it grounding. It's something traditional that we do every year. I really like to hear what the Queen has to say and her message to everybody for the year. So yeah, my Christmases are very traditional. I like to keep it simple, enjoyable, stress-free and relaxed, and I think that is what makes a beautiful Christmas. Okay, so that is the end of this Q&A. I would like to say thank you to everybody who asked me a question. Even though I didn't manage to answer all of them, I do appreciate you sending me in questions, and hopefully I managed to answer a good range of topics and managed to answer some of the questions that you had. As you know, I post a video every Friday, and next Friday is Christmas Day, so that will be my last video of 2020, and it's going to be a very simple Christmas message for you all to share my thanks, my appreciation, and just to say hello on Christmas Day. So join me next week on Christmas Day. If you can manage to squeeze me in, I'll really appreciate it. If not, maybe I'll see you the day after or whenever. But that will be my last video for 2020. And then for 2021, I've got a really big plan of lots of new, exciting content for the next year that I'm really, really excited to share. But for now, have a wonderful week. Don't get too stressed about Christmas. Remember to enjoy every day. Take it easy. We're already got a lot of stress with everything that's going on, so keep yourself happy, grounded and content. And I will see you on Christmas Day. Bye-bye.